Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Bora with another video. Today we're going to do just a bit of a Season 2 pulse check. We're a couple weeks in now. In fact, I guess we're only 10 days in now, but seems to be moving very quickly. I'm sure if you guys have been on the Discord, the Reddit, the trade site, any of that kind of stuff, like it seems like the good items like pile up. Even pretty early in the season. It's amazing. You know, obviously you can see I'm wearing Materials right now. Super rare items do get found all the time, and been a pretty exciting season. So before I jump into it, just want to say I've been streaming a little bit more regularly on Twitch, and I'm going to continue to do so. So if you haven't, follow me on Twitch. It's Bora Gaming D2. And of course, if you guys like my videos and all that kind of stuff, like and subscribe to YouTube, because obviously I'm just going to keep doing more and more videos. So anyway, let's just dive right into it. So welcome back, and Season 2, guys. I hope everybody's having a lot of fun. The first couple of days of the ladder were obviously a little bit tumultuous, a couple server issues here and there. But, you know, we're largely past it. Of course, there's still the odd disconnect and getting frozen in games and all that kind of stuff. I unfortunately had a reset group assembled, got the 4-hour lockout 3 times in the first 2 days. So unfortunately, my group had to carry on without me. But all told, I'm back in action. I did start out with a Holy Bolt Paladin, super strong. Like I talked about in my last video, that kind of touched on, you know, which builds I thought would be strong and which builds I thought would be good to start with. Holy Bolter did not disappoint. Did a lot of MFing, a lot of playing with my friends this season. I because of the server issues, kind of gave up on the 99 grind. I will eventually go to 99, but either way, I took a bit of a hiatus there. So I did a lot of MFing, found a lot of runes and great items early on in the ladder. But all told, I've gone back to my bread and butter, which is the Boazon. I am so lucky to have one of these, a 6 open socket Windforce. And so let's just talk about some of the new items that, you know, I had mentioned in one of my previous videos as well, which items I thought were going to be cool. Now, this is the 6 open socket Windforce. And what's kind of cool about this is it's actually not going to be super rare this season. I mean, like, the combination of getting a Godly Corrupt with a 4 open socket puzzle box last season on the Windforce made them extremely rare and made them therefore extremely expensive. Now this season, the 6 open socket Windforce, again, every time you corrupt an item, you have a 25% chance of getting a socket corruption. And as far as I know, it's equal chances between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 open sockets. In the case of the Windforce, obviously you can't get 6 open sockets on everything. You can, of course, just get the max amount of sockets. So I do believe you have about a 4% chance of rolling rolling 6 sockets on a Windforce. So it's not going to be super rare. I've seen quite a few of them on the trade site already. I was lucky to get a pretty good one. So some of my friends helped me fill in the blanks here with the rest of the Ohm runes. One of my buddies lent me a couple Ohms yesterday. So it feels good to have this up. But yeah, I mean, the items, I would say, you know, like the kind of the cool ones that I had pointed out, like the Grandfather, the Windforce, all that kind of stuff. Like I've definitely been seeing those around. So hopefully you guys have a chance to grab one of those. But all told, this is a very interesting part of the season because a lot of really godly items are being found, but people still need to make gear upgrades, so they're kind of offloading them quickly. So I'm very surprised to see the prices of some of these items. Of course, you know, obviously some people asking for 25 high runes this early in the season for particular items. That's never going to happen. I shouldn't say never. There's, of course, those few exploiters out there. But all told, this is a great time to start planning your next build. And I'll just speak to that quickly. Like, last season, you know, I have seen a lot of people trying to price things the same as, like, end of ladder last season. Guys, it's never going to happen. People just don't have that currency. And especially, like, with, like, I find that this is a great time to buy, like, inventory, for instance. So I've been picking up a couple of things like this, and I've been getting them for very cheap. And last season, you know, these ranged at about 1.5, 2 high runes. I've been picking them up for, like, IST and all that kind of stuff because like these items get found, and like at this point in the season, nobody's paying 2 high runes for a Grand Charm, because you just need so many more upgrades that, like, you know, obviously just the demand for these types of items is so much lower, that this is a really good opportunity for you guys to start thinking about your next build and start working towards it. I don't have a full inventory of like these GG charms as of yet, but I've started picking them up one by one, and I've been getting them for cheap. And even my 3 open socket giant skull, if you recall back to last season, these were selling for 20, 30 high runes. This is a pretty bad roll on the ED side, but all told, I got this for 1.5 high runes, and, you know, it kind of like makes my build. So definitely, guys, keep your eye out for these types of items right now. Like, there's such great deals out there, because again, everybody's looking for that quick sale so that they can upgrade their own gear. And fortunately, you know, if it lands in your hands and you make enough of these good trades, then you are going to be able to basically complete a build. With Tyrael's Might, I mean, again, this is another one of those items that I called out as this item's getting an upgrade. Cannot believe it got buffed, and I can't believe that the price that people are selling it for right now. And again, it's because everybody's just trying to offload stuff so that they can improve on their own build. But I got this Tyrael's for 2 high runes flat with a jaw that I found. So I mean, this is a, you know, obviously a great one for me. It's my favorite item in the game. And I was fortunate to corrupt 2 open sockets. I did buy one prior that I puzzled one open socket. Was pretty rough. That was a feels bad man situation. But either way, all that to say, guys, just keep an eye out for the deals right now, because again, it is still early in the ladder, especially for some of the more casual players. I mean, there's definitely the hardcore players, myself included. There's already a couple of 99s, so shout out to Kano, who hit 99 first. Followed shortly after by Hyperactive. Those guys are grinders. I'm pretty sure Kano's a robot. I mean, he's probably plugged in right now because they hit 99 so fast. But all told, there's a lot of grinders out there, but there's a lot of casual players who are just looking to make that next upgrade to their gear, and they're offloading the really GG stuff at a pretty great price. Okay, so on the flip side of that, guys, be patient if you find something like this, or I guess this is a better example. Like, this is just a Grand Charm that will inevitably go up in price. Again, nobody is really looking to pay huge amounts right now, because these things aren't needle movers, you know? Like, one Grand Charm isn't going to make or break a build. So people are way more invested right now in spending all of their currency into the big items. That's 6 open socket Wind Force that I've seen. You know, there was a couple that had bids of 20 high runes on it and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, like, a lot of people are saving up hard for that stuff, so don't sell yourself short on some of these really good items. If you can be patient, then I recommend holding on to some of these things until, you know, a little bit later. Not even, I do feel that prices are going to kind of gradually rise over the next week or two, and then you guys can obviously sell off. So anyway, that's just my kind of pulse check on trading and state of the nation for PD2. Next up, let's talk about what builds are popular right now. So I'm just going to quickly throw on, while I talk about this, I'm just going to throw on a video of me mapping earlier. You know what? Maybe I will move my webcam above that one. So video of me mapping earlier, and you guys can see it right here. There's 2 fire trap assassins. There are a number of pallies, and yeah, there's another boson in here, and a necro. So for mapping, for group mapping, people are loving the necro right now, because obviously the cursed necro is just the team dream, right? You can cast amplify damage, lower resist, all that kind of stuff. So everybody loves the cursed necro, and then yeah, I mean, you get the summons in there as well, so you have that kind of hybrid role of like, you're tanking a little bit, but the curses are obviously the big thing. Barbs, you know, I said going into the season that I thought barbs are going to be extremely popular, just because the declone fight is so hard right now. I'll talk about the declone fight a little bit later. But either way, the buff that the barb gives is obviously so good. Find item is so good, all that kind of stuff. And just with all the changes to Whirlwind and the splash damage, Whirlwind procking on hit, all that kind of stuff, all of that is pretty great. So the barb is rising in popularity. Not a lot of groups want a ton of barbs in their group, because they do They do damage, but they don't do as much damage as some of the other builds. So a lot of groups that I play with like to have one, maybe two barbs in the group. But still, Pally reigns supreme, guys. And in this group, we got J Watt. He's playing a Dragon Din, and the Dragon Din is not dead. So it was nerfed. People thought that the nerf was pretty rough because you used to get 3% damage for every level in resist fire, the aura. Now you get 1. You used to get 2 points for every point in salvation. So when you ran with multiple pallies, the damage was just stacking and stacking. And the elemental damage across your entire party was blowing up. So the salvation was changed from 2 to 1 as well. People, I think, thought that that nerf was going to be a little bit harder, but it basically just took an OP build and made it good or great even. It's still very, very strong. I'm just shooting off into the abyss here, just watching myself play, and I'm embarrassed for myself. Anyway, the Dragon Din still very strong. I know I have a friend that's currently going into a Tesla Din, so obviously you use Holy Shock instead of Holy Fire. I think that's still pretty strong as well. After I talk about just popular builds, I'm going to go into just those areas to farm. Everybody is kind of at that point where their builds are solidifying a little bit. Everybody's getting, their gear. They're filling out their inventory with some skillers and all that kind of stuff. So now that we're at this point in the season, it gives you a bit more farming options as well. So we'll talk about maps after the popular builds. But anyway, let's just jump back into the builds. So again, Pally still hugely important. People love the Necro. For Assassin, you can see there's 2 fire trappers in here, and they are pretty strong. And so again, going into this season, this is a change that they made this season, is that the minus enemy fire or resist that you get from facets in your gear now properly applies, and that wasn't the case last season. It wasn't applying to traps, so that's obviously a huge upgrade for the fire trapper. And it's not like a super expensive build to gear up, and it does a ton of DPS. So I think there's a lot of fire characters being played right now. People are loving the Meteor Source, the Hydra Source, which is still viable. Again, going back to the declone fight, I think that the most popular build right now is kind of just a Hydra Source. Like literally you just stack resist, you run in circles, and you cast Hydra as you try not to die. So you just stack juves. You every time you get hit by one of those rings of fire, you juve up. But aside from that, I'm gonna make my webcam smaller now. But aside from that, you're just running in circles, casting Hydra. You can use Firewall as well. Exact same premise. Run in circles, cast Firewall. So people have figured it out. It's still a lot harder than it was last season. You had the Blade Sin that was killing Declone in about 6 seconds. Not the case this season. The Fire Source, it's still a grind, still a long battle, but it's still it's relatively easy. It's cheesy, maybe not on like the extreme cheese level, but it's on some cheese stuff. So anyway, that's kind of the fire. And then another thing that is really being played a lot, 2 different types of Zons. People are really liking the cold Zon. Again, I talked about that as an important kind of support DPS hybrid from last season. The crowd control from the cold Zon is absolutely amazing. You can build it up with a Mavina's set, no problem. Honestly, that's probably the most well-rounded way to build it out. Or you can go with the Ice Bow and the Night Wings and all that kind of stuff. But again, we're still relatively early in the season. The Mav set isn't that hard to find at this point. So I think building out a Fire Zon or a Cold Zon right now is actually very viable. So those people that do aspire to go turn into a Boson a little bit later in the season, like a physical damage Boson, start leveling up your character right now as either a Javazon or a Cold or Fire Zon. So again, the Cold Arrow is that great hybrid of crowd control and DPS. The DPS isn't going to blow anyone's mind, but it's still quite good. And if you want to solo content, you can absolutely solo content with a Cold Arrows on. And then also the Fire Arrows on. No cold or no crowd control, but it does do probably about like with equal gear, if you're just using the Mav set and all that kind of stuff, between 2 and 3 times more damage than you're doing with the cold. But again, you lack that crowd control element. So I think the Boson is back, and I think that that's an extremely viable build to play right now. Again, the reason I love the physical Boson is because the gear is ever scaling, and I have good gear right now, but I can always make it better. And I do so many spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff, doing the math as to how I can tinker my build, what's that next big upgrade, and basically, ultimately, how can I perfect my build towards the end of the season. So the Boson is back. Again, early season, start cold or fire. You can also go Javazon. A lot of people are PMing me on Discord just talking about the Javazon. This is about the time in ladder. Maybe you're still a week away or something like that where you're about to get an Infinity. But all told, obviously, you know, the Lightning Fury or Lightning Strike Javazon is great for cows. Cows have a great chance of dropping high runes. Just because more runes drop in cows. So all told, the Zon is in great shape. For the Druid, I think that the build, people like the fire build. It also does a portion of physical damage. I think it's about 25% physical damage. So the Druid is actually a very viable build right now. But from what I've heard, the people are playing it just don't love it. But all told, I think a lot of people have kind of plans to do some type of shapeshifter build this season. So hopefully I see a bunch of shapeshifters, and especially later in the season as PvP starts to happen, hopefully that becomes a consideration as well. So I think we covered off all the classes. Every class, as always, has viable builds, and in no way, if I didn't mention your build, I'm not calling your build bad. I don't know why I need to say this, but I do, just because there's certainly some people watching that are slighted by some of this stuff. But it just, look, there's no wrong way to play this game. I say this all the time. Just, be kind to other people, but ultimately play your own game. Like, just because I didn't mention your build doesn't mean that it isn't viable. It doesn't mean that it isn't fun. And I guess the one thing that I actually didn't mention that a lot of people are playing right now is the martial arts assassin. It is better as a solo character. It's not like my map group and my reset group aren't like just dying to play with a martial arts assassin. It's a little bit slow, but it is a lot of fun, right? Because they made the changes. Again, I always compare it to kind of like Invoker from Dota 2, if you've ever played Dota 2. But like now, you build up the strikes, and then you use a finisher to expel, and you can do all damage types and all that kind of stuff. The martial arts assassin, very cool, just not something that I like using for the type of play that I do. Okay, now that all said, let's talk quickly about maps. I'm going to throw this up on the screen. No, sorry, not this. I'm going to throw this up on the screen. And this is a breakdown of a lot of people that message me. It seems like there's a lot of people that like to play solo, and I don't disagree with that. I personally like to play as a party, and I like that like well-rounded, synergistic, and you can do all game content. If you guys haven't seen my dungeon video, please check that out. Just allows you to do like the Ubers and the dungeons and every map and all that kind of stuff. But all told, for those people that are still in those early farming stages and you want to know where you should MF, again, I will always redirect you to the wiki, the PD2 wiki. They have an area called, or they have a section called areas, I believe. Let me just quickly confirm. Top left, it's called area levels. So if you click that, you are able to sort by the immunity that exists in that level. So you want to be MFing one of those level 85 areas, or obviously Meph is a good one, Pindle's a good one, Eldritch, Shank, those are areas that I like to MF. But if you want to stick to a level 85 area, because it has that potential to basically drop the entire loot table, more or less, with the exception of like materials and all that kind of stuff, then obviously recommend going to that area level section of the PD2 wiki, sort by immunity type, and find that place that doesn't have any immunities to your type of element. If you play physical and magic, as you can see even in this chart here, you have a lot more options. So quickly, we'll go through this by damage type, and we'll start with poison. So poison, Horizon's Memory, you can do on the, but it's contingent on you having lower resist of -60. There's basically one poison resist in the map that is breakable. So if you want to do this map, you can with a poison necro or whatever poison build you want to do. But again, you need that lower resist. For me personally, it wouldn't be my choice just because I don't like. Even when you do break a resist, they still have a strong defense against that type. So it's not like you're going to shred through those units. Definitely slows you down. Blood Moon. So that's the cow map. If spoiler alert, but every damage type is good in cows. You'll run into the autoimmunity, but the basic cow in the map does not have any immunities whatsoever. So it is a great option. I love the map. Everybody loves cowing. Again, they do have a higher chance of dropping runes. So if you are looking for high runes, this is a great place to start. But anyway, let's continue down the poison chain. You also have the River of Blood, which has no poison immunities whatsoever, which is obviously the OG Tier 3 map from last season. And then you have Throne of Insanity, which again, you need lower resist. For Lightning, you can do Area Battlefield contingent on you having Infinity. There are 2 Lightning immune units in the Area Battlefield. I misspelled it, sorry boys. Area Battlefield has 2 lightning resist. Both are breakable with Infinity. So if you have the Infinity, you can do that map. But again, lightning, those maps those types of builds, the Javazon, the Lightning Source with Chain Lightning and all that kind of stuff, those just scream cow maps to me. So the more Blood Moon maps you can stack up, I definitely recommend going that route. You can also do the Ancestral Trial, which again has lightning immunities that are breakable with Infinity. You don't need lower resist on top of it. Just Infinity will break it. So you can consider that as well. For Cold, you basically got the cow map and you have Ancestral Trial. For Fire, you have Blood Moon. There's other maps that you can absolutely get by with a fire source or whatever fire build you want to play. But again, there's those fire immunities that are a little bit pesky, and I don't like to do, like, for me, when I MF, I'm all about clear speed. I don't love the idea of struggling to get through immunities and all that kind of stuff. So there are other options, but guys, if you're playing fire, go to a level, like go to the Stony Tomb or something like that, and do a better job MFing in one of those areas that has no fire immunities. For Magic, so Magic and Physical, and I talked about this going into the season, you just have so many options. You just don't run into many physical immunities. You don't run into almost any Magic immunities. So Magic, you have a ton of options. You don't want to do Ruins because they have those Herodrum, whatever guys, that are quite annoying and you can't kill. And there's a lot of them, so it's not like it's a unit type that you can really just ignore. They also resummon the skeletons that you kill, so it becomes like doubly as annoying. So just ignore the runes map when you're on Magic build. But you have Horizon's Memory, you have Bastion Keep, you have Plegathon, you have Area Battlefield, Blood Moon, Sewers, Throne, Tomb, Ancestral Trial. All of those you can do with a Magic character. So again, Magic, being Holy Bolter is probably the one that comes to mind. Again, it's the build that I started with for this reason, is that you just don't encounter many Magic immunes through the entire game. Like, you really just don't. You can do almost all content by yourself with relative ease. So for people that are playing the Holy Bolt, they're obviously benefiting from this here. For the Physical, kind of the same vein. You do run into more physical immunes throughout the game, but still not like a crazy amount. You can do the runes, you can do Horizons, Plegathon. Somebody in the comments is going to chirp me for saying it that way, whatever. Area Battlefield, Blood Moon, River of Blood, Sewers, and Throne of Insanity. In terms of maps that people that are running all the time, especially for experience, a lot of people are just sticking to Throne of Insanity. Ancestral Trial is probably the biggest one, and people are still doing River of Blood. So those tier 3 maps, high density, high experience gain. Those people that are pushing for 99 are running those maps a lot. And as you can see, you know, magic, cold, lightning, all those types of damages are doing well. And again, it's not like every monster in there is immune to poison, fire, or physical. There's a handful of physical immunes, but nothing crazy. So you can absolutely, you know, when you're doing a group with these maps, you can absolutely get through them. And then the one thing that I haven't listed here is the dungeon. Again, please feel free to check out my YouTube video. But there is no single damage type that is good there, because there's immune to everything, and moreover, everything is dual immune. So there's like poison, cold, and fire, lightning. So it's just not meant to be solo content, which is great. I'm glad that they introduced something like that into the game. But all told, guys, you know, season 2 is kicked off. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far. As always, you know, guys, if you have any questions, message me on Discord. I'm happy to help. If I have spare gear, obviously, I'm happy to lend a helping hand there as well. But either way, guys, keep enjoying your game. We're still very early into Season 2. Start thinking about the next build that you're going to build. If you want to comment, leave a comment about what build you're considering as your kind of end game build. And yeah, let's have a discussion. So anyways, guys, again, on Discord, I'm Bora, BORA, #7700. Feel free to reach out to me there. Follow me on Twitch, Bora Gaming D2. And of course, like and subscribe here, because I'm just going to keep putting out videos. So cheers, guys. See you all next time.